Our declaration of orders we will not obey, recognizing that we each swore an oath to support and defend the Constitution against all enemies, foreign and domestic, and affirming that we are guardians of the Republic, of the principles of our Declaration of Independence, and of the rights of our people, we affirm and declare the following. Number one, we will not obey any orders to disarm the American people. And as you know, it was the attempt to disarm the American people on April the 19th, 1775, that led to the fighting in the Revolution, after years of abuse of all of their other rights. And this declaration, we always make very clear that what we're talking about are things that happened in our own history. Each one of these things happened already. Number two, we will not obey any order to conduct warrantless searches of the American people, their homes, vehicles, papers, or effects, such as warrantless house-to-house searches for weapons or persons. And we saw this happen in Katrina, correct? Right. And we believe that what happened there is those troops and police were caught off guard and had not thought about it ahead of time. So that's our mission, is to get them thinking about these things in advance, making up their minds in advance, and instilling their resolve to do what's right. Because just as they prepare themselves for combat, if they prepare themselves to stand firm, they will stand firm. Number three, we will not obey any order to detain American citizens as unlawful enemy combatants or to subject them to trial by military tribunal. And this is one of the most dangerous erosions of our Constitution that has come. Unfortunately, this came post 9/11, but I want you to understand something. The claimed power of a president to declare any one of you an unlawful enemy combatant, most people think that that was only claimed after 9/11. That's not accurate. There was a proposal in 1996 in a law review article where two lawyers urged the Clinton administration to use military tribunals on McVeigh and on the entire militia movement. They wanted to apply the laws of war to American citizens. Unfortunately, what's happened is that what they proposed but did not get any traction in 1996 has now been put into place post 9/11. The infrastructure for declaring any one of you an enemy combatant, stripping you of the Bill of Rights protections, the requirement of indictment, the requirement of a jury trial, those precedents have been put into place. And the Supreme Court has given its rubber stamp to this notion that you can be treated like a foreign enemy, that any one of you can be treated as though you were in Afghanistan or Iraq. It's very dangerous. So that's why we have to draw the line right there and just make it very clear that in this country, with American citizens, the laws of war do not apply to you. They only apply to external enemies. That's it. Number four, we will not obey orders to impose martial law or a state of emergency on a state, or to enter with force into a state without the express consent and invitation of that state's legislature and governor. One of the causes of our revolution was the imposition of martial law on Massachusetts, with General Gage being the military commander under martial law of Massachusetts. And during that martial law was when he attempted to disarm the people, leading to our revolution. And if that comes again, you have the right to revolt. And we, the Oath Keepers, will fight with you if that day comes again. Number 5, we will not obey orders to invade and subjugate any state that asserts its sovereignty and declares the national government to be in violation of the compact by which that state entered the Union. And as you know, there have been a recent firestorm of initiatives in states reasserting the obvious principle that the national government has limited powers and all other powers belong to the people and the states. And by standing up against the federal government's incursion on the rights of the people, those states are following in the footsteps of Jefferson and Madison in the Kentucky and Virginia resolutions. Number 6, we will not obey any order to blockade American cities, thus turning them into giant concentration camps. Now, I've had some people say, oh, that's ridiculous. That could never happen in America. Well, you know what? It did. It's happened twice. First time, Boston was blockaded by the British. And when the fighting began after April 19th, the people in Boston were told, we'll give you safe passage so long as you disarm. And so they laid down their weapons in exchange for safe passage. And then what happened? They were forbidden to leave. They were locked into that city. And then it happened again in Katrina. People were told, go to the Superdome, go there to get help. And when they went in there, they were forbidden to leave. They were locked in there. So don't tell me it can't happen in America, okay? So we consider this a serious line in the sand. This has been in the 20th century, whether it's the Warsaw ghettos, whether it's the Japanese confinement of Nanking. Whenever a government wants to control a population, they can just cut off the major freeway entrances and exits and blockade you in. We would consider that to be an act of war, just like the blockade of Boston was. And those of us who are sworn to defend the Constitution will not obey orders that we consider to be equivalent to an act of war on the American people. We will not obey orders to force American citizens into any form of detention camps under any pretext. And as you know, forced internment is a technique used by tyrants, whether they're fascist or communist throughout history. Forced internment is a method used to subjugate people. And also the internment of women and children to get the men to stop fighting. So we would consider any forced internment of our people to be an act of war and an act of the violation of the rights of the people under the Constitution. Number 8, we will not obey orders to assist or support the use of any foreign troops on U.S. soil against the American people to keep the peace or to maintain control during any emergency or under any other pretext. We will consider the use of foreign troops against our people to be an invasion and an act of war. Number 9, we will not obey any orders to confiscate the property of the American people, including food and other essential supplies, under any pretext whatsoever. Deprivation of food and starvation, intentional starvation, has been a weapon of war for thousands of years. And we saw what happened in the 20th century alone with people in China and Russia murdered by their own government through mass starvation. It won't happen here. Number 10, we will not obey any orders which infringe on the right of the people to free speech, to peaceably assemble, and to petition their government for a redress of grievances.